welcome! Today we're going to be doing some pocket monster spriting for a fan game that is for free. With my last video, I showed how I came up with the design for my regional alcremie. I'll put a link to it in the description, and maybe somewhere in the video. And in this one, I'll be doing the pixeling for it. We're going to be giving alcremie their fancy new look. As I said before, and if this is your first time, welcome. Alcremie is one of the Pokemon that I like because it's very cute, and I typically tend to like the cute Pokemon the most. This is going to be a continuous theme with most of the mons I end up redesigning. Essentially, the ones I specifically pick. When I first started this sprite, I imported a reference for the design that I'd already made into Aseprite. The reason for that being that this is just way faster. While I could do it solely by hand and just eye how the shape could be done, it's much quicker to sketch over the reference and then refine it from that point. At least for me. Different people have different processes. The main thing that was important for this sprite was that it had to be very free-flowing and very, very swirly. Like, very swirly. The whole point was that it was in a mixer originally. I can't stress enough, very swirly. When I had the outline done, I tweaked the pose a little because I found it to be a little closed in when the arms were just held together against the body. And to make it a little more open, I separated the arms, which I found gives it a slightly more inquisitive look, or look of wonder, whereas it had seemed more reserved before. Which, both are fine, but that's not really the look I was going for. At the time, I decided to color in the outline first to make it stand out a little more. Typically when I start doing pixel art, I pretty much just throw colors at everything. And when I have an outline, I like to have it be multicolored versus purely white or purely black. It's more of an aesthetic choice on my end. It's also a little harder to animate depending on how many colors. Keep that in mind for your own projects. I chose colors that would be close to the colors in the area around it. Typically a shade darker than the original so that it would help it stick out a little more. Also, having an outline helps it stand out against the background. Since the swirls in the hair and cream needed to be really nice and fluffy, I made sure to try and define them since, well, it, again, was combined with a mixer. So, not having a bunch of swirls everywhere might as well just be a crime. The smooth parts of the body on alcremie are a layer of fondant over the quote-unquote cake. The hair was, of course, inspired by Victorian updos, and to make it more fancy, and because alcremie is a cake and not a person, I wanted to have the swirls be different hues of food coloring. That would have been caught in the mixer and not totally combined together, so it wasn't just completely blended to be blue. In this case, for the blue honey flavor base, it was like 2 different shades of blue, as well as a few little cream colors to help it stick out a little more. You probably noticed I messed with the eyes. Once or twice. Maybe a few times. More than a few times. I'd ended up sketching the eyes out several times because I couldn't decide on one that I thought looked good until it eventually clicked. And thankfully, not something that gives it an uncanny valley vibe. Now, the reason for why alcremie is currently a fairy/steel type, the whisk. The metal that ended up spinning it around became merged with its body. It became the metal boning of the corset, and the skirt that is typical of the old-style Victorian dresses. Actually, I think the original ones might have been made by whale bones, question mark? we don't need to stress the details. The coils are now curled around the waist, and the wire loops extend to the bottom of the long skirt of the dress. With X-ray vision, you'd be able to see that the wires connect seamlessly inside of the body. Bit more of a headcanon for me being that alcremie in this form is likely very bouncy when it walks because of how the coils are set up. Also, I'm not sure if it even has feet, to be honest. Yeah, let's not think about it. I ended up doing a couple different patterns on the dress because originally I hadn't really thought on what kind of design I wanted to have on it. It was just plain in my original sketch. And I felt I needed to tweak it a little to make it at least a little more interesting. In a good way, hopefully. Since I was thinking of making them different types, the blue honey version had a bit more of a wavy aesthetic to it. The idea got scrapped, so now they all get the same patterns. Like I was thinking of making, like the red one would be fire type, and the brown one would be, I don't know, maybe ground type. But it's simpler to just keep it the same type. Like fairy ground, fairy fire, etc, etc, etc. Of course, the dreaded back sprite. Flipping that thing around and trying to fix all those swirls. Just pain. All the cream pretty much just eats up the majority of the dress in the back, so it all got painted over so that I can make it look more like it was spilling out everywhere. It's just a very long train of cream. I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that, actually. Wondering if the cream would be considered crinoline in this case. I tweaked it a little to make it at least a little different from the front sprite, so it wasn't just a flip from front to back. Of course, the metal wires that extend from the dress need to go around the entire body, so I incorporated so that it would extend out from behind and also sink a little into the cream, because unlike the parts of the dress, this part of the body would be more light and airy, so it would likely get swallowed up by it at least a little bit. After doing all that, the other colors came in, being the pink, green, brown, red, and blue-black. And of course, these are the flavors, starting with the blue one, blue honey, pink velvet, mint, chocolate, cherry, and blue velvet. After all is said and done, this is the complete video on how I made my regional alcremie. Thank you for watching. I always appreciate you guys for being here, and I hope to see you again next time. Please like and subscribe. Bye, and have a good day.